think that album definitely sounds dated when you hear it. Like, you hear the Fuck album, it doesn't sound dated like that album. Even though it's not that far away, it doesn't have that, oh wow, this is 1986 sound. Because of those drums. It's not the guitar, it's not the keyboard, it's not the vocals, it's the drums that make it feel like that. But I don't know if that's diamond stats, that's just my own stupid nerdy shit that I'm talking about. But I really do feel, had you added another single or two, and like I said, 5150, and definitely Summer Nights. Summer Nights, in my opinion, is an absolute missed opportunity. I don't get it. I don't get that at all. I mean, Why Can't This Be Love, I believe, came out maybe late February, early March, maybe early March. But I would have had that single, Summer Nights, hit right around late June, and that would have been, I think, a huge song. What can you say? I mean, look, the album's a success, and it's a huge hit anyway, and everybody still loves the album, so. But, yeah, you got a good point there, Ben. That is a very interesting question, for sure, and we're going to end it on that, and that wraps up the mailbag segment. And wow, we have some episode for you guys. So after all of this mailbag and all of this news, we still have more to come. And Dave and I are going to be talking about Edward Van Halen's top 10 moments of all time. And it's going to be followed by our interview with Jake C. Miller from Completely Unchained. He's the guy who is probably the closest to Eddie Van Halen clone as there is out there. He looks and sounds and plays just like Eddie. We get his reaction to Eddie's passing, as well as an incredible exclusive interview with keyboardist Derek Sherinian, hugely influenced by Eddie. And he is in the band Sons of Apollo. He's also in Black Country Communion. He also played with Kiss. He also played with Billy Idol and Alice Cooper. And he's played with Eddie, and he is highly influenced by Eddie. The guy played Eruption on the keyboards. He's a huge Eddie fanatic. We talked to him on the day Eddie died. So that is a very highly emotional interview. Very interesting. Very, very talented man who has his own solo album called The Phoenix. Check it out. The Phoenix. What an incredible feat he has there. And it is all coming up next. Take a listen.
Van Halen never goes, and people don't like us anymore. I'm not going to go get a day job, or I'm going to continue playing guitar. That's what I love to do.
Pick up the new coffee table-sized book, The Decade That Rocked, by legendary rock photographer Mark Weiss. This 376-page book has hundreds and hundreds of full-color photos that Weiss shot through the 80s for magazines like Circus, Faces, and Hit Parader, featuring bands like Van Halen, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Bon Jovi, Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, Ozzy Osbourne, and more. There's even behind-the-scenes stories to go with these colorful, eye-popping pictures. The Decade That Rocked, a new book by rock photographer Mark Weiss, is available for purchase now. Go to thedecadethatrocked.com, where there are exclusive bundles available with extra prints, t-shirts, and even patches. Inquire about the Van Halen bundle, especially made for Dave and Dave Unchained listeners. Order today. The Decade That Rocked. It'll rock your world.
All right, everybody, this is Brian Geller from the world-famous Atomic Punks, and you're listening to Dave and Dave Unchained, the world's greatest rock and roll podcast. And when it comes down to it, these cats know everything, absolutely everything, about classic Van Halen.
If you would like to send us a letter asking a question or making a statement or whatever you'd like to say, you can send it to ddunchainedpodcast@gmail.com.
When I think rock star, I think of a person posing, wearing skin-tight satin pants or spandex. I'm not like that. I wear the clothes I do on stage because they'll beat me up if I don't.
Well, here we are, Dave. We're back in October, still in October, doing an extra podcast. So because this month is all dedicated to Eddie, And we all know it's Dave's birthday and it was Sam's birthday, but this month is dedicated to Eddie because of his passing. We thought it would make sense to focus on our personal top 10 Eddie Van Halen moments. And Dave and I have our own top 10. We have not seen each other's top 10. We have not discussed this at all. So we're going to go back and forth. What do you think, Dave? How do you feel about this?
Bittersweet that we're talking about Ed and his passing, but certainly glad to celebrate his music and his legacy.
Of course, as always. Yes, of course. So we're going to start off going from 10 to 1, and we're going to start by doing one from each guy. So 10 for me, 10 for him, and then all the way up to number 1. So, Dave, would you like to start off the honors, kick off with...
Oh, why, thank you, sir.
Go ahead. Your number 10.
So my number 10 is off the A Different Kind of Truth album.
Oh, nice.
Yes, which is Beats Workin', and specifically the intro to Beats Workin'.
Okay.
Because I think that is one of the best, if not the best, intro to a Van Halen song that Ed ever did. Ed and the rest of the band were really good at intros to songs.
Yep.
And I forget who it was. I think it was Patty Smythe who said something like he was the intro guy. Ed knew how to do an intro to a song.
Right.
And Beats Workin', it just has those chords, and then Al comes in with the drums, and just like a great rock anthem intro to a song. And there are certainly other examples of that in the canon, but I think that one just encapsulates everything that was good about a Van Halen intro. Ed just took everything he knew and captured it in that intro.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Good choice. I like that. My number 10 is 316 or 316. My God, Midwest Ron's going to kill me.
Here we go.
Here we go again. Well, 316. And the reason why I say 316 is because really it is a date. Okay, it's March 16th because it's referring to Wolf's birthday. So that's why I say 316. Anyway, 316.
I will never correct you on that, by the way, because I always called it that too.
Okay,
so
all right, cool.
What do I know?
What can you say? Just trying to keep our listeners happy here. So 316, but the intro live version from Live Without a Net. Let me tell you why. Because when Eddie Van Halen played his coveted solo spot on the 5150 tour, he made a really bold move. He sat at the edge of the stage and started with this bluesy jam, something he's never done before. He also played a piece of music that no one ever heard before. Now, let's remember, 316, 316, whatever you want to call it, came out in 1991 on the Fuck album. We're going back to the summer of 1986. So when I went to see him for the first time in concert, and I was getting ready for him to play his solo, this is what he did. And I thought it was really surprising and showed a lot of depth. And when his son was in Valerie's belly, he used to play this instrumental acoustically to stop him from kicking, which I thought was sweet. So then in 1991, he finally recorded it and put it on the album, the Fuck album. And the piece kind of shows that Ed can just be as effective acoustically and slowly as he is electrically. But here, the one I'm pointing out is the electric version that he did. It was very Clapton-esque, if you think about it. And I really enjoyed that moment. I thought it was interesting the way he sat at the edge of the stage and started off his solo before he gets off into the fireworks. That's my number 10.
I like your live choice of that.
Yeah.
Because I think in 86, they were almost doing it as, it wasn't just Ed. It almost was like a song. Wasn't Al playing drums in the
Al
background?
came in very slightly towards the end. But it wasn't like a song. Mike wasn't on it, and Sam was definitely off the stage, and it was definitely a moment.
Okay.
So you're number 9.
Number 9? Number 9? Sorry, couldn't resist. Wrong band.
I love that song.
My number 9.
Yes.
Also another intro.
Okay.
Ed was the king of intros. Was the intro to Atomic Punk.
Ooh.
First of all, that is a great song to begin with. But just the way Ed, didn't he take a beer bottle or something like that? And that's how he did the intro to that song. Rubbing like a beer can or a beer bottle against the
It was
string.
something unconventional like that. Yeah, I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was just, and it was something so simple, but nobody had ever done, and just create something new. It was just amazing. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what the heck is that?
Right.
Just crazy. So again, I know I'm harping on intros on the early part of this list.
That's
but
okay.
Ed really was the master of that. And oh, by the way, I'm just going to warn everybody now. My list is very Dave era centric.
Okay. That's
Send
fine.
in your hate mail now, but I make no apologies for that.
Oh my
because
God.
when I think of Ed, I really think of his contributions as a guitar player.
Right.
I know he was a well-rounded musician and a songwriter and all those things.
Right.
But when I think about one of the things he did that really knocked it out of the park was his guitar playing. And I think he really made his mark during the Dave era of the band. I'm not saying he didn't have anything good when he was with Sam, and maybe he eked out something decent with Gary here and there.
Right.
But really, he said all he had to say during the initial Dave era of the band, and that's why my selections are what they are.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. That's great. That's awesome. My number 9 is Out of Love Again. Now, here's the deal. Perhaps this might be the greatest back-and-forth exchange between the Van Halen brothers. Both of them are throwing it all down on the table. They're recorded live off the floor. There's an incredible urgency to this recording and heat that is really unmatched on a lot of the Van Halen albums. It's always fun to hear. I get the biggest kick out of it. It has almost a boogie feel to it, and it proves that the first album was no fluke, for sure. Out of Love Again, later in Van Halen 2, but an absolute gem, for sure.
Good choice.
Okay. Your number 8.
My number 8?
Yes, sir.
Is In a Simple Rhyme off the Women and Children First album. Last song on that album. I think there's a lot going on in that song. He's got a little bit of an acoustic intro, and then they just start wailing into it, and then there's the beautiful background vocals, of which Ed was a part. We all know that Mike was the master of the background vocals, but Ed was part of that. I think this song just is a testament to Ed as a songwriter, in addition to